Hey everybody, welcome back to K. Jove's Views. Today we are covering Dr. Forster. You may have heard of this show on Netflix. It is a British drama and we're going to get into it. But of course, before we do, as always, like, comment, subscribe, share, tell someone to share some more so I can make your entertainment so much easier to digest. All right, so, excuse me. Let's get into Dr. Forster. Dr. Forster's 2 seasons, 5 episodes each season. Well, at least the first season's 5 episodes. I haven't gotten into the second season, and I'm probably not going to, as you'll find out during this review. However, before we get into all that, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's get into the synopsis. All right, so the synopsis of this story is basically this woman, Dr. Forster, she's brunette. She finds a long blonde hair on her husband's coat. She also had found like chapstick that was not his or hers, and he kind of found some explanation for it. So she's kind of set on this path of wondering if her husband's cheating on her. And things get pretty downhill from there. As mentioned before, a lot of foreign shows, you find out within the first episode whether you're going to watch it. And they're shorter, so there's not a ton of synopsis I can get into immediately without getting into what is the storyline. So basically, she still continuing in the synopsis, she sets about to find out if her husband's cheating on her. She's suspecting a lot of the people around her. And she starts to unravel almost a conspiracy involving lies or possible deception, right? Boom. All right, so let's get into these spoilers because the spoilers I'm going to share at least start pretty much in the first episode, right? So one of the things that happens is she's a general practitioner in this town, and she basically pays one of her patients, a young black woman, to spy on her husband, to follow her husband, to find out what's really going on, if he's being honest. And she soon finds out that he is cheating, and not only is he cheating, he's cheating with this young 23-year-old girl who is like a daughter of her patient, and is also, as we find out towards the end, the father of this guy, or sorry, the child. She's the daughter of a patient, and also the daughter of this guy who's an investor, who the husband, who is Dr. Forster's husband, does real estate, is an investor that the husband's trying to get into. Let's give these people names. All right. So there's Dr. Forster. Her husband's name is Simon, and the son's name is something simple. I can't remember the son's name, but they have a son together. And Simon, the guy, the woman, the girl, sorry, the 22-year-old girl that Simon is cheating with is Kate. All right. So they're the Parks, Kate Parks. And I forget her parents, but the Parks are important in this, right? Because one is a patient of Dr. Forster. The other one is someone that Simon is trying to go into business with, right? So she finds out about the affair. She finds out who the affair is with in the first episode. And after that, it's like this downward sort of... It's an interesting story. She plans to expose and kick out the husband, but then she decides she's going to wait and gather more information. Then she finds out that Kate's pregnant. So Kate's pregnant. So then she's like trying to decide if her husband's going to leave her to have a baby and start a new family or what. But then Kate, being 23, makes the decision that she's going to abort the child. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. She doesn't abort the child. It was actually a test to see if Simon was going to be there and finally leave his wife for her. That comes out at the very last episode. Dr. Forster basically, once the abortion happens, she thinks her marriage is back on track, but Simon goes back to cheating again with Kate because it is what it is. And we kind of start to see I don't want to say we start to see why Simon cheated on Dr. Forster, But we start to see that Dr. Forster just really isn't a very nice person. A lot of people don't like her. And she could be kind of a bitch. Even her own son realized it tells her as much. Her own son is like, I mean, if there was a divorce, I would go live with dad. Like, you're not fun. You don't take interest in the things I'm interested in, etc., etc. So that's your spoilers. That's kind of the thing. Dr. Forster does blow up Simon's spot in the final episode, like a whole coup de grace. She gets invited. She basically implants her and Simon into a dinner at the Parks house while Kate is there. And during the dinner, exposes the whole affair and the pregnancy and the abortion, which is when Kate reveals that she decided not to abort the baby. And Simon does, because of the baby still being in play, and because of the way his wife exposed everything, he just does decide to go with Kate. It's pretty kind of simple. Dr. Forster goes about and does some more petty stuff, well, arguably petty. And Simon ends up leaving town with Kate to raise their baby somewhere else. And the son ends up staying with the mom because some petty stuff. So that's the whole show. That's episode 1 through 5. First season. So I don't care to watch the second season. To be honest, I kind of realized how terrible of a person Dr. Forster was early on. I don't think she was as terrible as they made her seem. She's just there's just not a lot to her. So you really are watching this show because you want to watch the story. You want to see when is she going to expose the cheating? What's going to happen when she exposes it? Is this guy really in love with this young girl, or is he going to be the family man? Like, is he going to choose his family? And then the way it's written, you start to really empathize with Simon and see why. I don't want to say see why he cheated on his wife, because I don't think that's ever a thing, right? But you start to see why he could be unhappy in his marriage. So the show is good at that. The show is good at playing both sides. And just really getting involved in like the unraveling of this truth and the deception, because so many people knew about the affair but didn't tell her, Dr. Forster, about it, including people she worked with. You know, so it was just interesting that this many people would be involved. And I think part of that, and that's part of the reason why this show didn't grab me the way it grabbed other people. Now, I will say a lot of people enjoyed this show. A lot of people enjoyed this series. It didn't grab me that way because, one, I found it kind of deplorable that this many people would be involved in a deception involving marriage infidelity. Like, first of all, I don't understand why that many people need to become involved, even though the show does a good job explaining why. STD scare involved one of the doctors that work with Dr. Forster. The neighbors found out because they ran into him out in London with the mistress, with Kate Parks. And then his assistant had to know because it's his assistant. So I get why so many people I get the story of how these people became involved in the deception, but it just seems so unnecessary, especially when you find out that he had been cheating on her for 2 years. It just seems so unnecessarily over-involved with the deception by the neighbors and the friends and all that stuff. I didn't like that Dr. Forster was paying this patient, a black woman, to spy on her. And like at one point, I think in the 4th or 5th episode, the black woman does say like, you really need to stop offering me money to like do dirty shit for you. And she's right. Like, yeah, it's just for me. And then in the end, she's still kind of a cold, rigid person. She still prioritizes life-saving, which I mean, I think for what it's worth, it's like you can't really be mad at her. Her work is extremely important. She's a doctor. But it's clear that she chooses that first. And so it's just, I don't know. For me, I wasn't moved by her. I needed to finish the series because by the time you finish the first episode, you're involved and you want to see what happens. But I definitely don't want to start the second season because they might do something to get me pulled in again, and I don't care to see this lady. anymore. So that's me personally, but that is the show, Dr. Forrester. Check it out. Again, a lot of people liked it. I made it through it. I wanted to make it through it. Like, I finished the show in 2 days because the story moved me and I wanted to see what happened. And because nothing, again, the way I think British people write their dramas is very complex and comprehensive. They don't make things linear. I think the story's moving enough to get you engrossed in it. Whether it's moving enough to make you want to continue watching it or watch the second season, that's debatable. But anyways, that is my review. Thank you guys for listening. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, and share some more. And if you watch this show and you feel differently, by all means, chime in. Let me know how you feel. I will talk to you guys on the next flick.